Now it's time to take a look at the French papers with Diptyka Laurent. Welcome to the set, Dipty. French President Emmanuel Macron is speaking before Congress in Versailles next Monday. What will that be?
That's right. It's not any old Congress either. Macron will be speaking before French Parliament in the Versailles Palace next Monday. It very much follows in the style that he sort of set for himself during this presidency. Solemn, solitary even, sometimes alone. So this will be the president facing the French Parliament, and it very much reminds us of the last meeting he had in Versailles, which was with Vladimir Putin. It was a very grandiose meeting. So Macron is facing his ministers next Monday to speak about, I quote, the world that we live in, the challenges facing France in the 21st century, and the way that French institutions operate. But there is a hidden agenda of sorts, at least according to Le Figaro. Macron's speech has been scheduled the day before his Prime Minister, Edouard Philippe, is set to make a similar speech to French MPs. And it's no coincidence, Shona. Both men are trying to reaffirm their power in front of French Parliament. And according to Le Figaro, Macron is skipping the politeness and trying to one-up Edouard Philippe, who is his Prime Minister. Why? It might be the question you'd ask. Well, Le Figaro explains that this is kind of Macron's trademark. He doesn't do things like everybody else, and he takes great pleasure in breaking with the French traditions or the traditions of French politics. And this is definitely the case where he's trying to beat Philippe to the chase. He's trying to force through a new functioning of how the president and his prime minister work in France. In this case, he's trying to send a clear message that that the prime minister is tethered to him in a way.
Well, whatever his intentions, the business paper Les Echos is hailing this decision from Macron.
That's right. They say Edouard Philippe has no reason to feel humiliated by Macron because this decision is a good decision. Macron has not spoken to the French people since May the 7th when he was inaugurated. So this speech is necessary because, I quote Les Echos, the moment has come to move on from the speech of a candidate to the speech of a president. Les Echos adds that Macron has led several successful PR operations since becoming president. We remember those speeches, the videos we've seen from overseas trips, that video he made after Trump pulled out of the Paris climate change agreement. So all this there was great success in his PR operation, but Les Echos says that will not suffice to lead his 5-year term. Now, despite this, Huffington Post, the French version, reports that certain opposition MPs are already planning to boycott Macron's Congress. One conservative MP said, it serves no purpose, it's expensive, and Macron doesn't need to use French MPs for his PR operation. They also criticize what they call a Jupiter-like monarchy, where Macron is concentrating power into his own hands. 5 days after this Congress, there'll be a convention for the République En Marche party. Macron, in this case, is carving out a customized political party. That's what L'Opinion, the right-wing paper, says on its front page, saying essentially he wants to solidify popular support and avoid a rival emerging.
Now, let's talk now about changes being discussed to French labor laws. Some early decisions have already been taken.
That's right. Les Echos says the unions have reserved a warmer welcome than expected for the government's proposals, something that we don't see often in France because the unions are extremely ardent when it comes to defending their rights. And in this case, we have one union leader who said, I quote, early discussions are going in the right direction, and others say they've been able to have profound discussions with the labor minister. So for the moment, it seems like there is some sort of entente between the unions and the minister. But Macron's proposed reforms to French labor laws are yet to convince the left-leaning newspapers in France, in particular Libération, which says it's worried about the government's plans to deregulate French temporary and permanent work contracts and basically inject a lot more flexibility into the system, which for Libération, well, at least Libération fears that this might be costly and it will be a source of insecurity for French workers, while L'Humanité, which is the communist paper, accuses Macron of targeting workers while allowing the rich to get richer. That's a pretty, I guess that's a pretty expected response from the communist paper.
Now, finally, in France, millions of students are sitting for their final high school exams right now. And last week, a group of students had to resit them because their original tests were stolen.
That's right. They were stolen. And if, like many of us, we've all been through that period in our life, it's very stressful sitting for your final year exams. And there's nothing worse than having to resit them because your copy got stolen. Well, this was a case for 61 students in Paris. They had to reset a math test out of all tests. Because the teacher's bag containing their 61 tests were stolen in Paris last week. It turned up in a Paris bar a little while, on last Friday it turned up in a Paris bar. According to the bar manager, they opened the bag and found the 61 tests. It's likely to be little consolation for those students, though.
Well, maybe it was an inside job. Thank you so much, Deepti Laurent, there with the French press.